non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno.
Welcome back to another episode of the Whip Report. Thanks for tuning in. In this lesson, I'll be covering prepaids, prepaid expenses. You pay for something, you don't receive the service or a good until the following fiscal period. It could be a month from now. If you're providing, accurate in-house financials on a month-to-month basis, you'll have a prepaid. But typically, what I deal with is just end of year. So as long as you get the end of the year right, that's what matters most. So if you pay for something now, but you don't receive the service until the following fiscal period, you have a prepayment. And also remember that it's not a prepayment unless you actually pay the invoice. It's not enough to just accrue the expense. So let's get started with the lesson in terms of the template I'm providing. You can download this template on the website, www.thewhipreport.com. You can find the link in the description section below. Pretty straightforward here. You get your invoice in front of you, you get this template in front of you, and start inputting this data. You got your vendor, ABC Insurance, you got the description, general liability insurance, the total amount of the invoice, the period covered. Your insurance policy is from July 1, 2022 to June 30, 2023. That's 12 months of coverage. This column is just an automatic calculation here. Number of months covered in the current period, assuming we're 12/31, 2022 year end, that's 6 months. How you get there is July 1, 2022 to December 31st, 2022, total of 6 months there. Columns J through L, auto calculation, 50% of your total invoice. That amount is $50,000, half of $100,000. And if you're calculating on a monthly basis, that's $8,333. What is this saying? It's saying by the time you get to December 31st, 2022, you should have expensed $50,000 of that $100,000 invoice. So you expense $50,000 of that $100,000, you're left with $50,000 in prepaids. That ending balance here is what should be in your prepaid balance, prepaid insurance. If you've got a specific one just for insurance or just prepaid expenses, the last thing you want to do is just expense the entire amount. You may be cash basis on your tax return, so you want to get credit for all the cash going out because that's an expense for tax purposes, but for GAAP purposes, that's wrong. You cannot expense the $100,000 outright. It's not being recorded to the appropriate period, so you want to make sure you only record $50,000 of expense here and record the rest, the remaining balance, to prepaids, which will be expensed in the following fiscal year from January 1 to June 30, 2023. So very important to keep in mind. You always want to make sure you're recording the expenses in the appropriate period, and you're not shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to increasing your bonding capacity. Anyways, thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you in the next lesson.